Welcome, everyone. We are here with a brand new week of the Cabral concept. So happy you could join me here today. Love being able to get into our motivation and mindset Monday, where, as always, the goal is not just inspiration. The goal is not just motivation, but actually action tips, things that you can implement in the real world in your life that you will see a noticeable difference as you begin to move forward. Because remember, it is never one day or one action that moves you towards your ultimate destination, your ultimate goal. What it is an accumulation of very small steps along the way where all of a sudden you end up arriving at that place you've always dreamed of. So that's really what it's about. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Begin to look at this as truly a journey, which it is, and start to look at it as small steps that when you look at the sum of everything you've done, it adds up to the life that you've been dreaming of. So let's get into a new show here today, which is 6 factors that make life easier. I would love to say is 6 factors that make life infinitely easier. Maybe I will title it that for the show. And when I was choosing these 6, because I don't like to make them a million steps. I don't think anybody can implement a million steps, right? I think that when we begin to look at our life as a whole, we can see that a few core philosophies are truly what enable us to reduce the stress to a dramatic degree in our life. And I'm going to share a lot of that with you here today. So when I say like what makes life easier, well, first and foremost, you have to reduce the stress, right? You have to reduce the constant barrage of just thoughts and stress that enter your body. And if you have a few core philosophies on how to deal with these, well, it makes life a whole lot easier. So let's get into it right now. The first factor that makes life infinitely easier is dismantling the belief that anyone owes you anything. Now, I know it's a strong way to start out the show, but listen to this, that, again, I think a lot of us feel, because we may do a lot for other people. So think of it this way. You might be one of those people that's always trying to help out friends or family or loved ones in general, your community, and you're saying, well, nobody seems to be helping me. I'm helping everyone, but nobody's helping me, right? That is a huge, huge belief that needs to be rewired. And that is because you are looking for a one-to-one transaction in life. That's not necessarily how life works. And if you're doing that, you're also in the back of your mind not doing the things that you should be doing for the reasons that you should be doing them. Meaning that we can't go through life saying that, my parents owe me this for doing this. My friends owe me this because I've done that. Or my spouse owes me this, or my employer owes me this because I've been doing this at work or that at work, or my kids owe me this. Like, there's no owing, right? Owing is a bad thing because you look at life as this basically business transaction. And the problem is we're not then looking at life as relationships, as a journey, like I spoke about earlier in the show and even on yesterday's show as well. So what we have to do is begin to separate what we do, how we act, or what we've been through, right? Sometimes we're like, I remember back in my late teens, I'm like, I didn't deserve to get this sick. I didn't do anything, and the world owes me a lot because I've been so sick and I lost years of my life and all this. Well, the world doesn't owe you anything. Nobody else owes you anything. This is part of life's journey as it begins to unfold. Now, this doesn't mean that it's negative. Not so at all, because it rolls into factor number 2. So first, we need to, listen, there's no giving to get, right? You give to give. That's the bottom line. Literally in life, you are giving to give. And when negative things happen to you, you can't blame others. You can't. And that's because part of the second factor is this. The second factor is you must understand that you own your life. I talk about this all the time. And honestly, I would talk about it every day if I could, right? I don't know if everybody would listen every day, but I would talk about it every day. And that is that your life is absolutely yours, right? 100% of responsibility lies with you. Now, a lot of people have taken offense to this over the years, and this isn't mine, right? 100% responsibility has been talked about since like the Vedic scriptures, right? For many, many thousands of years ago. But we're not saying it in a negative way, because here's the thing. We know that many people listen to this podcast have been lucky enough to be born into the world when they've been born into it, not 100 years ago, not 200 years ago, not 500 years ago, when you might say your life really isn't your life. You might not have had the autonomy that you have now. And some people, they're probably not listening to this podcast, they may not have full control over their life. Now, you don't have full control over your life as your child. That's different, right? That's different. You are living in the rules of your parents' house or school or whatever it might be. And you might make an argument, well, I have to do what work says, I have to do what that says. That's true, but to a degree, you do get to choose where you choose to work. Now you might say, well, I have to take the job because I need the money. Listen, I get it. I understand. And you may have to for a certain period of time. I had some really not ideal jobs as a teenager because I was working for money, not necessarily for the love of what I wanted to do. Then when I graduated college, I got to work for the love of what I wanted to do. And even in college, right? So that's very, very important to understand. And also, I do want to just say that we are all born into different circumstances. Some people, they might be born into a lot of wealth, but maybe being born into all that wealth, they didn't get to spend as much time with their parents, right? Some people might not have been born into as much wealth, but they got lots of time, lots of attention from their parents, right? Like, who's more fortunate? Well, again, only time will tell. They decide, right? But what matters is this: we're not at all, to my knowledge, able to choose, at least consciously in this world, who we are to be born to or of, or the circumstances, or where in the world. But eventually, as we become an adult, we get to question our upbringing, we get to question the world around us, and we get to begin to play the hand we were dealt, right? So we were dealt a certain hand. Like in poker, depending on what type of poker you're playing, but let's just say it's 5-card, you didn't get to pick those 5 cards. So now you need to play it to the best of your ability. You're not going to win every hand, right? You probably won't win every obstacle in life, but you do get to play it. So I want you to understand is that to a degree, you own your life. The more you own your life, the more responsibility you take, the more, believe it or not, life becomes easier. Because even though you're realizing, wow, I'm putting this responsibility on me, the more responsibility you're willing to take, the more satisfaction you typically get in life. Because you understand that a lot of what you get in life is by your doing, your choice. Not always, I'm not saying that. But as you begin to understand this, you fully embrace it, you fully embody it, you're going to be able to take your life to where you want it to. Because if you don't own your life, well, you're going to get moved around by the tide and the waves by whoever does own your life. All right. Number 3 is this: stop pretending to be someone else. So again, when we're all younger, we have to get a job. We become, we take summer jobs, we do whatever it is. And again, we're trying to earn money for college or for books or for whatever it might be, right? But I saw and I watched a lot of my friends in undergrad and college. And because in grad school, typically, you know what you want to do and you go out and you do it and you get further education. But in undergrad, you're 18 years old, you're being asked to choose a major, But a lot of my friends, they went into finance. I knew right away that was not going to be something for me. I enjoy understanding how finance in the world works, but that's not who I am. And I don't think it was for many of them either, to be honest. And the reason why I say that is that maybe 10 to 20% loved it. They loved numbers. They loved learning about economics, they learning about business, all of those things. And the others did it because, well, I think they believed that their parents wanted them to, or society wanted them to, or that they might be able to earn a better living going into finance. Now, I'm just giving that as one example. Some parents want them to become doctors or lawyers or accountants or, I don't know, whatever else there are for jobs out there, right? So you have to understand is that you have to stop pretending to be someone else, because what happens is you begin to trade time for money. And I know many of these people now, and they don't want to go back. They can't go back because they now earning a certain income. They don't want to start over a new career, but it is draining their life from their body, because every day they go into work and they do something that isn't them, that doesn't embody the beliefs and principles and, really of where they want to be in their life. And so I think we have to be careful with that, because I don't think it's just career either. I think it has a lot to do with relationships and even your own body, right? I mean, again, if you're in good shape and you're healthy, great. Do you need to be, 200 pounds solid muscle with 6% body fat? Are you doing that for you, or are you doing it for someone else? It's a good question, because I would say previous I was doing it for someone else. Like in my 20s, I was doing it because I wanted to look like I was in amazing shape and impress these people and that people. And then I realized like that's not who I am, right? That's not who I am. That's who other people want me to be, right? And it's a lot of effort involved in all of that, right? So it's something to think about, I think. And again, with relationships too, are you with the person because it's who you want to be with, or because it's status, or because you feel like you're missing out, or, what is it? And so I just want us to stop pretending we are other people, right? That's basically what it comes down to. You don't choose a job, a relationship, a body type, whatever, based on what other people want, or you think other people want, or you see someone else that isn't you and you're like, well, they look happy, I should do that too. No, this is where self-awareness comes into play. You need to go deeper within and think about what is it that you want so that you don't end up 10 years from now, 20 years from now, living someone else's life. Number 4 is this. Shift your lens to better understand the world around you. I really learned about this during the pandemic. I saw 2 people, and this is many people, I'm just using 2 as an example, who are both very, very, very intelligent, very brilliant people. And they both were on opposite sides. Some people believed in no masks, etc. Some people believed in masks for everybody and all times and whatever it might be. And so, 2 people holding 2 different viewpoints. And both are citing scientific research on their side and possible theories and what can come true, what may not come true. And they both presented their sides, and they both did it very intelligently. The problem is, neither one of them is necessarily wrong. You can make an argument for both sides, and you honestly could. But neither side felt that they were wrong. Both sides felt that they were right. And because both sides felt they were right, they felt the other side must be wrong. And that's the problem with the world that we live in, right? It's literally binary, right? It's literally a 1 or a 0. So that's it. Well, you can't both be a 1, can't both be a 0, can't both be right. That's the world that we live in. We have to understand is that our upbringing, our culture, our community, where we live, how we were raised, all of these things come into play with how we see the world through our lens. And so when 2 people are dug in and they truly believe that they're right, they may both be. They might both truly be right, at least in their mind. And who's to say that they're wrong, right? So another person comes along and they don't believe in masks, and they're like, well, yeah, I'm on this person's side, and here's why. And they present their argument. And then we have someone else who they do believe in masks, and they say, hey, and here's why. And they present their argument, and they're like, I'm on this person's team. So then we develop these 2 teams, and the 2 teams yell back and forth at each other, and they're all dug in because they believe that they're so right, not understanding or taking the time to understand another person's viewpoint. And I really believe that if we can simply take ourselves out of our ego for just a moment and start to truly listen to what the other side has to say in life, we can begin to understand that they're human too, that they're not any less intelligent than you, right? And that they can develop their own worldviews. And that at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to agree to disagree. And that's not a bad thing. You just literally say, listen, I see your point of view. I don't believe necessarily in that, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree and go on and live our life. So it's something to think about, right? Something to think about. I do believe, though, that you're not going to force another person to believe your viewpoint. You can talk with them. You can try to persuade them, but you can't force them. And I don't think that in a lot of situations, especially when it comes to these hot button topics, that there may not be an exact right or wrong answer. Something to think about. Number 5 is this. You don't need to explain yourself. I love this one because this is my follow-up to number 4. Listen, if I believe in something and you don't, and you tell me why I believe in that, or you tell me why, or even worse, you tell me, hey, you're wrong and here's why, I don't have to come back with a rebuttal. And that's what people, again, like I don't get into arguments online. I really don't. I don't talk negatively about people. I don't disparage people. I will talk about topics. I certainly will, but I don't talk negatively about people necessarily. I will at all. I don't. Or even companies. I don't disparage companies. I don't believe in it. But if you hear a certain viewpoint of mine And again, this does not happen often. And you try to tell me how mentally superior you are and all of the intellect and ego that you come with. And I don't respond back. It's because, well, I don't need to explain myself. And that is not from an ego standpoint on my side, but a person's beliefs are their beliefs, right? Who are we to question another person's beliefs? They're their beliefs, right? You don't want your beliefs questioned. Why are you questioning someone else's, right? And also, what are you trying to do by questioning that person's beliefs in the first place? Are you trying to persuade them? Are you trying to show your superiority? Is it you that's talking? Is it your ego? Are you trying to help them or are you trying to hurt them, right? Are you trying to disparage them? Are you trying to be condescending? What is the goal? So you have to ask yourself before someone, and again, this is not about me. Honestly, I'm very fortunate. I'm sure it will happen more in the future, but I'm very fortunate that this does not happen a lot to me, but I see my colleagues and I just say to them, listen, you don't need to respond. There's no need. Like, who or what is this person trying to do? If you know in your heart that you are trying to help others, that you're trying to move your mission forward in life of what you believe in and be of service to others, then honestly, you shouldn't take offense in the first place. Like, that's the goal, but we're all human, so sometimes offense is taken. So if we take offense, well, at the same time, you have to understand is that you never need to explain the way that you feel or why you feel a certain way. That's nobody else's business, right? All right, the last one is this. Number 6, the sixth factor that makes life infinitely more easy or easier is that, and this is meant to be more on the positive side, but I think of it this way. It's over before we know it. And I don't say that in a morbid sense at all, but it's one of the universal truths to life is that the older you get, and I don't consider myself old, but the older you get, it's just that the years turn into months. They feel like months. That things just begin to move faster and faster. If you have children and they get to the ages that my daughters are, 7 and 9, you just see them growing up so quickly. And you realize like, wow, this happens so much faster. When I was a kid, it didn't seem like this at all. The year felt like it took 10 years. For me to get from like my birthday in March to Christmas seemed like an infinity. And now the years just fly by. I'm like, wow, we're already at the holidays again? I can't believe that, right? And you see the people around you, they're getting older. And it's remarkable to look at that. And again, I don't mean this from a morbid standpoint. If you're a spiritual person, and whether you believe in, universal spirituality, if you believe in God, whatever it might be, you have to understand is that this is all part of the journey, that we're in the different seasons of our lives and we get to enjoy it if we just stop, breathe, and take a moment. If we do a little less trying to hurt others, right? Try to, push back less on our superiority online and more into just trying to provide more peace in the world, right? More service to the world, try to help maybe just one other person in need. I think we're going to enjoy the journey a whole lot more. And this doesn't mean that you need to go out there and travel the world, helping people all around the world. It can literally be first taking care of yourself. I think that that's such an important thing that we begin to overlook, or we do overlook, is you have to take care of yourself first. You really do. To go back to one of my virtual mentors that I never got to meet, Jim Rohn, right? I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me. How can I help you more than you can help you? I can't, right? I can support you, but you can help you a whole lot better than I can. And at the same rate, I can help me a whole lot better than you can. So first, let's take care of ourselves. Then let's take care of the best we can, the people that surround us, our family, our friends, our loved ones, our community, our church, whatever you believe, whatever you belong to, help that out. Then let that, as they say, butterfly wings begin to spread throughout the world. And that's really what's important, is that we begin to just help who we can, be of service how we can. And I just think that, again, this doesn't happen overnight, but if you begin to live this, not every day, that's impossible, right? At least that's impossible for me. But as you begin to live it, the more that you live it, the more consistent you are, I really truly believe the happier you are as well. Thank you so much for tuning into this Motivation and Mindset Monday. I appreciate you as always. If this show was helpful, please do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve.